episode 6 of Pixel Perfect Gaming. I'm Chris.
And I'm Patrick. Welcome back, everybody, and hello to the newcomers. We're going to start off today by talking about Nintendo. They are looking into releasing a smaller, cheaper version of the Switch, so a budget Switch, kind of a little bit of a throwback to our first episode whenever we talked about the PS5 Streambox idea that was being tossed around.
I completely forgot that we actually even talked about that.
Come on, man.
Yeah, so apparently they're going for a cheaper Switch. I don't really care about the idea of a cheaper Switch. I don't really mind the price point for the Switch now. I mean, what do you think?
I like the idea of a cheaper Switch. I mean, I'm not a guy out here with a lot of expendable income. So it'd be nice because there's not a whole lot of, if there was a lot more on the Switch that I wanted to play, then I would be more okay with having to spend the like $300, what is it, $299? I'm pretty sure it is for it.
Yeah.
Whereas there isn't. There's only a couple games that pique my interest, and I would be a lot more likely to toss Nintendo my money for a smaller, cheaper version so I could just play those couple games.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of functions or features they're going to take away from this one. I assume it's going to, I feel like it's going to be strictly handheld if they're going for a cheaper option. So it's not going to be like the one that we have now where you drop it in the dock and then it goes immediately to a large screen or whatever you have it hooked up to. I think it might just be handheld entirely. What do you think?
That's what I think as well. It's also what I have kind of read is that they would get rid of that portion, but it's fine by me. I mean, I like the idea of a nice handheld.
I mean, I don't mind it. The only thing I don't like now is, yes, by the size of the Switch currently with the Joy-Cons, it's uncomfortable after, a little while of playing. It's just too heavy in the hands. I do. Yeah, it's just too heavy in the hands. It's pretty uncomfortable to play with. So I think if it was smaller, it would definitely make for a better portable console. And then they have an option. I mean, you can take the Joy-Cons off the back and just play with those in your hands, which those are small for my hands and, they can hurt too. But there's a kickstand on the back of the handheld right now, and the kickstand is just absolute trash. So they need to at least correct that issue for the next one too.
Maybe they'll do something like they leave the ability for it to be connected to a TV, but it doesn't come with like a nice standing dock for it. It's more like here's like you can buy this cable to hook it into the TV if you really want, kind of thing. Like I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would like it if it was just a portable console in general, just strictly handheld. Now, if they're going to do that, I want smaller bezels than the current one has because they're pretty thick, and then I want a better screen because I hate the screen for the current one. Like the display is like 720p. It's kind of terrible. I want an OLED display. Like I want it to look just phenomenal.
Yeah, I want them to make a smaller, cheaper version of it, and I want them to put an OLED
I want
screen
an OLED screen. So that's the problem is, yes, smaller, cheaper. I mean, I don't care about that so much. Like if they give me an OLED screen on a portable, smaller Switch, I'd probably buy that potentially.
Would you?
Assuming, I mean, potentially. It kind of depends on what their game library continues to be. Because when I got mine, the only reason I got it was for Xenoblade 2, which I had never played any of the Xenoblade games, but it looked like a really good JRPG, and I was itching to buy a console or spend money on something apparently. So that's what I did. I literally went out to Target like 1 week from Christmas. Yeah, it was like a week from Christmas, and I went to Target and picked one up, and then spent the whole week just playing that at home.
I hope that it is successful, because if it's successful, I think it's going to urge the other consoles more toward it as well. And I would love to be able to buy, with my income, I'd be able, whenever they come out with like the new Xbox and the new PlayStation, I'm like, it's one or the other. But if they do a cheaper version of it, if they follow in these footsteps, if it's successful, then I could pick up both, and that'd be great. I would love that.
Which that brings us back to the whole Streambox idea of like a cheaper console from Sony potentially at the end of 2019 maybe. So then maybe we would have the option to do something like that. But I would like to see Sony get back into the handheld thing too, since they basically killed off the Vita. And their Vitas had an OLED screen. I mean, they weren't cheap handhelds. They were like $260 or $300 or something. They weren't cheap by any means, but they had really nice OLED displays on them.
I used to have a PSP. Loved that thing.
A what?
PSP.
Oh, PSP. I thought you said ESP, and I was like, that doesn't sound like a console I've ever heard of.
I also have ESP.
Ah,
That's
okay. Well, that
like,
makes
when you're a
perfect sense.
psychic, I got
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You could see it coming. Yeah. So, I mean, that it's not planning. I mean, they're planning to do it by what, the end of this year, I think, is when they're planning to announce it.
Be like sometime in 2019.
I assume they'll probably announce it at E3 then. That's probably when we'll find out what's really going on with it, would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna keep saying it. I hope they do it. I hope it's successful, and I hope it proves to other companies, yes, this is a good idea. Like PlayStation.
So what games would you want to play on it? So if they do a cheaper version of it, I mean, what games in the library are appealing to you currently?
Any Pokemon game, you put the name Pokemon on it, I'll play it. I want to play it. Even if it's like, Barbie in Pokemon World, I'll play it. I'll give that shit a shot.
Gotcha. So you at least have the new Pokemon game, and then they're supposed to come out with a new, I don't know, some other RPG style Pokemon game in the future, I believe.
And I want like another Pokemon Stadium style game. I love that. I would like to play Zelda. I'm not a huge Zelda guy, but I've heard great things about it. I would like to play that, and I'd like to play Smash.
Yeah, Smash is always a popular one.
So, I mean, yeah, if it was a cheaper version, then I could justify buying it for just those couple games.
Yeah, I mean, I justified it right off of Xenoblade Chronicles, which that by itself was fantastic. I was really happy with that. I don't think I've really played anything else. I've played Stardew Valley on it, but I already had that for computer. And I think I played Bayonetta, and I think that's about it.
No Smash?
No, I'm not really that interested in fighting games anymore. I mean, who would I even play it with? I don't even know. So,
well, that's true. That's
I mean, it's not like Nathaniel's around
fair.
anymore. He doesn't live here. And then Philip and I
potentially,
I guess, could play it, but I don't want to play it online. I'm not dealing with that. Even when I had fighting games like Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom and stuff, I didn't even play those online. I just played them, by myself. And I don't know. I've never been a fan of the online fighting scene.
Well, you never bought an Xbox, so I could.
I'm never going to buy an Xbox.
Injustice too.
I'm never going to buy an Xbox. I mean, I own the original Xbox, and then I owned an Xbox 360, but then Sony just did a better job with the exclusives this round, and honestly, I'm much happier that I have a PS4 than I do an Xbox One.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not saying you got bad reasons here or anything. It's fair reasoning. But if Xbox did a budget version of the new system, would you be more inclined?
Not really. For me personally, not really, because there isn't enough games in their library exclusively that I can't already play on the PS4 that I would be interested in.
I just love the Xbox controller layout so much more.
I don't mind. I like how big the Xbox controller is, but I actually really like the PS4 one. I think it feels fine. I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, the only exclusives I can really think about that Xbox has is Gears, which I don't really care about, Halo stuff, which I don't really care about. So I don't really know what I would play.
That's fair. I mean, as a guy that owns an Xbox, not a PlayStation, I can totally agree that PlayStation does a much better job in the exclusive scene for sure.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is if I could, I have a friend of mine that plays Warframe on Xbox, so I at least have somebody to play Warframe with. That would be about the only thing.
Well, there you go.
I'm not going to get it just for that, though. That's crazy. No. Unless you're going to play Warframe. Are you playing with us?
So, next topic. No. Look, man, I tried Warframe with you.
Barely.
And I don't know, what do you mean barely? I played it for like 3 hours.
3 hours is nothing for that game. Like it's really
a fair shot.
Started. It's I don't think it's a fair shot for Warframe. For a lot of other games it is, but the very beginning part of Warframe is they don't explain anything. It's so I don't know. It takes quite a bit longer to really get the foundation of the game down and really start playing.
All right. Well, if you haven't roped me in 3 hours of play, that's not on me. That's on you.
I mean,
not you, maybe? You like you, the company.
Maybe. Oh, on the I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I remember the first time I played it, I went away from it for after an hour or two because I was like, I don't want to play this. I have no idea what's going on. But for whatever reason, the second time, it just it worked for me, and then I ended up putting like 150 hours into it.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what happened with me and Diablo, honestly. Like, Fanny bought me Diablo because I was like, no, I don't want to play it. I'm not interested. And he's like, I bought it for you. You have to play it now. And I played like a week of one of the seasons with you guys, and I like started a wizard. I was like, nope, garbage game, hate it, don't ever want to play it again. Came back to it a couple months later, and now I play most seasons. So like, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. So just, I don't know. Maybe someday you'll get into it and then we can play Warframe together.
As soon as you get into
Come
WoW,
on.
I'll get
No,
into
I've done
Warframe.
WoW. I've done the whole WoW thing
No,
like 2
you
times.
haven't,
I'm not
man.
doing it again.
You
No,
haven't.
no.
Man, you were taking a character through the tutorial and then went, nah.
That was when you wanted me to play with you. Before that, I did a rogue and got it to max level like years before that. And yeah.
All right.
However, that segues to our next topic, which is Diablo 4 development. So,
yeah, how do you? I don't know. What do you want from it? Like, what do you hope they? Are there anything that you hope they add, and is there anything that you hope they do away with?
oh, I want loot boxes 100%. Pay to win aspect would be great. I would love both of those. Absolutely, 100%. No, I'm kind of
Thank God.
concerned.
I was like deadpanning at my computer, just watching your little thing light up in Discord, and I was like, I'm gonna have to have a serious conversation with this guy right now.
No, I'm kind of concerned with Activision and what they've done with their other games. So I am concerned that loot boxes are going to end up in this game, and just kind of play to win or pay to play aspects. I'm kind of concerned about that.
I don't have a problem with loot boxes, but I like if it's purely cosmetic stuff. The second the loot boxes start giving you like in-game currency to be able to buy things to power up your character, as soon as it becomes that pay to win, then I have an issue. But if you want to do loot boxes just to get, I don't know, like let's say they do wings again like they did in Diablo 3, get different types of wings and stuff, whatever, cool, have at it. I couldn't care less about that. But if someone's dropping a bunch of money on loot crates so they can get their set sooner, so they can start pushing stuff sooner, then I'm going to be upset. Like, it's not fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they come back with like another rehash version of the auction house from Diablo 3 or some just absurd, stupid crap like that. Honestly, I mean, it's Activision, and I don't have a lot of faith in Activision and the way they do things anymore.
An auction house can work. It just has to be done properly. They shouldn't do the real money. They should just never touch that again. Don't do it. But like a normal in-game currency auction house is totally fine. I see no issues with that as long as it's done properly.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, even when they removed the real money auction house previously, because they ended up removing it at one point before they killed the auction house entirely. The problem is that drop rates were so bad that you weren't even getting upgrades to your items. So literally, you were just getting stuff for other characters because it didn't have smart loot. So you would, as a wizard, get barbarian stuff, and it doesn't do you any good. And so you have to go in the auction house to virtually get your upgrades that you would want for your character. So you spend time grinding for items to sell in the auction house to buy your upgrades instead of actually earning them through the game, which was their fatal flaw, I think.
Well, I mean, now with smart loot and the updates that they have made to it, if they keep that type of looting moving forward into the new game, then be fine.
I think they need to stay away from any auction house, any kind of loot box nonsense. What I would like to see is just better in-game content. I'd like to see 4 or 5 player raids where they have major bosses, major world bosses that you need a full party to do, and they're kind of unique. I would like to see something like that.
Now, what I wouldn't want to happen with that is I'm going to throw this back here to Guild Wars. OG Guild Wars, okay? They had what was called the Fissure of Woe and the Underworld. And they were meant to be like that raid type thing. Big areas, super hard. You need to go in with like a plan. You can't just get a bunch of strong people together and wreck your way through it. You need to think about composition, have your tanks, have yada yada. But it eventually became speed clears. No one was doing just normal group runs anymore. So like I don't know, man. I don't like speed clear metas.
I don't know that it would go that. I mean, it's hard to say, honestly. You never know till it plays out because you could say, I mean, Guild Wars obviously did it incorrectly, but there's so many other MMOs that do raids and do them correctly. I mean, I think if you apply rubber banding to it, then it should be fine for the most part. But I would like to see some type of better in-game content than just, hey, here's 13 or 16 different difficulties. You have at it.
Yeah, here's a handful of different boards that you can get. Good luck.
Yeah, basically, it needs to be something a little bit more engaging. I mean, we are able to do it enough until we want to kill ourselves, but I think it needs to be a little bit more engaging for other people that don't want to sit through, T16 grinding over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And then on top of that, I want more customization and I want more classes than we currently already have.
Yeah, so would you want them to keep this current system for like your build and how like your set is what influences what build you have, or would you want them to do more of like you have a class and then you have subclasses beneath it that you can choose and then gear for, or like a talent tree type thing?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know. That's kind of hard. I would maybe a mix of both. Maybe it would be kind of cool to have set pieces that have impact, but then having like a talent tree type of thing for each individual class with, 3 or 4 different trees to go down. And so even though this set is geared towards a certain thing, like with the trees, you can make it into 2 or 3 different types of builds or 3 or 4 different types of builds instead of it being like, hey, Talrashas, we do meteors, and that's what we do here.
Yeah.
Or, you run the Whirlwind Barbarian build because it has whirlwind damage and that's all it does.
Mm-hmm. I think I would like kind of how WoW does it, with you have sets, but the set itself isn't what really dictates what you play. It's the talent tree. So like I can have all my set gear on, and if I'm like in the restoration tree at the moment, I'm getting bonuses to restoration from the set. But then if I switch over to a different tree, I'm getting bonuses for that set.
Or make it so that, you get bonuses. Yeah, you get bonuses for certain things from the gear, but it doesn't necessarily define the actual way you're going to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. The other thing I think would be neat is maybe a subclass kind of thing. So maybe you run, this is assuming they have enough classes in the game to begin with. If you have 4 classes, this makes 0 sense. You can't do this. But I'm thinking if they can implement 10, 15 classes, then maybe you can run a barbarian and subclass wizard, and then you get like 5 or 6 wizard skills as a barbarian, and you can kind of mix and match and do a little bit of both. Like then you get some impact from intelligence, and you can use some of the wizard skills on top of the barbarian skills, so you can make these like ridiculously unique whirlwind meteor storm builds and shit like that.
Yeah. Guild Wars, going back there again, they did something like that. Like you had your primary class, and then there was a certain point through leveling up where you chose a secondary class. So you could be
they
a
stole
warrior
that shit from Lineage.
Secondary mesmer.
That's all they did. They stole that shit from Lineage too.
Garbage game.
Whoa! Oh, my heart.
I couldn't resist.
I think there's a lot of MMOs out there that they could take some great ideas, and that's not to say that Diablo 4 is an MMO, but I think there's certain aspects of in-game content that you look at MMOs and you take some of those ideas and really build on top of it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. One thing that I hope they don't do personally, and I think this is going to be a pretty unpopular opinion, I don't want them to do hubs.
What do you mean by hubs?
Hubs as in, here's this place, and you don't have to be partied up with these people. It's almost like one giant waiting room where everyone's here and all your different vendors and everything are there, and you can see and interact with the community at all times, run around and see gear that people are in and whatnot.
I like it the way it is currently, where you can play it with, the people that are in your party are in your world, and that's how it is. I would not want to deal with all the crap of, 100 other players in the same town as me and all this kind of shit.
Yeah, I agree.
It works for some games. It doesn't work for others. I mean, there's
I hate it in all games.
Yeah, I mean, Warframe has it for only like 2 areas in the game. It's basically a hub, but everywhere else you're with that party and you don't see other players. I like that. So, I mean, if you want to do maybe one area or something like that where it's a hub for a specific reason, but then the rest of it's like, hey, you have to be invited to the party to be in that game, that's fine by me.
I could be fine with it if it wasn't like, so like in Diablo now you load into the game and you load into whatever town and whatever act, and like that's where you are before you go out into the world. So as long as they don't do like I load into the game and I'm just in this hub,
Right.
I'd be okay with it. Like if I have my own separate thing, I don't care what they call it. I have my own little nook that I can go to, and I can invite people into my party, and we're all hanging out in my nook. Let me customize my nook. I don't care. I won't care about that, but some people would definitely like that.
Yeah, and I think that would be cool if you could customize the world, or maybe you have an impact on the world and it's unique for every player. Like certain decisions you make changes the world, and it changes for you specifically instead of everybody. That kind of thing. That'd be kind of neat. Or if they have big major events, and as the player base, they make decisions that can impact everybody's world or something. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
That
mean,
would be kind of cool. Although one thing I am gonna say, I swear to God, Activision, if I have to beat the game like 6 fucking times to unlock all the difficulties, I'm gonna throw a fit because I am not doing that shit again. Because when this one came out, Nathaniel and I had to go through and beat it on every difficulty all the way through multiple times to unlock the harder difficulties to keep progressing. And I got so sick and tired of playing that damn story mode.
oh, you'll have to. Let's be honest here.
I'm gonna throw such a fit.
Deep down.
That's what the loot boxes are going to be, or the shop. It's going to be like you can pay to skip all the story content and have all the shit unlocked, and I'm gonna be like, maybe,
you'll do it. You will do it. I know you will.
If the story's shit enough, I definitely will. If the whole thing, if they literally the whole story, like let's say they have 5 acts, and they're just like, let's just take Act 2 from this one and just take it across all 5. I'm gonna be like, fuck this game. Give me I will pay what I need to. I'm not doing this. There's no way I'm playing Act 2 that many times.
Wow, our first F-bomb of the series. Very passionate.
Act 2 and Diablo 3 is, oh my gosh. Just the worst.
Oh, jeez. What about, so there's different things that are being said about camera view, like the top-down kind of thing or an over-the-shoulder. How do you,
for Diablo?
You fall?
For Diablo 4?
Yeah.
I would prefer they keep it pretty much the way it is. I don't know that. I don't see a reason to change it. I like it the way it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't want it to be an over-the-shoulder type thing. What I wish I could do though is I wish I could spin my camera.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like it the way it is because it's how it was designed in the first couple Diablo, and I don't mind that. I can see why it gets frustrating from some aspect. Running towards the bottom of the screen, stuff like that gets kind of annoying because you can't see what's coming up. So maybe being able to rotate the camera would be pretty useful. I would like the functionality to be able to zoom in a little bit more than you currently can, so that when I'm changing my myself from a appearance standpoint, I can really zoom in and appreciate it a little bit more.
And rotating the camera would be nice there, so you don't have to awkwardly click around to try to get your character to stand at the right angle.
Right where you need them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like it can stay because it's not like a straight top down at the moment. It has a bit of an angle to it. And I'm fine with it keeping that angle. Just let me rotate around at that angle.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wouldn't mind that. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Who knows when they're even going to announce anything. It took like, 10 years or 14 years or some crap for Diablo 3 to come into existence. So who knows how long this is going to take. And plus, they have to make Diablo Immortals first, They got to get that mobile game out there.
It doesn't exist.
Unfortunately, it does.
Not if we keep pretending.
Well, maybe they'll actually just scrap it because it's it's going to get so much flack. So
they've scrapped so many other things, but they aren't the ones handling that. It's what is it, Tencent in China?
I thought it was NetMobile or something. NetEase by NetEase and Blizzard.
Tencent. I don't know.
So
either way,
that's what it looks like right now. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, all right. It's kind of rude to say like, hopefully that gets scrapped. Like. Yeah, all right, because people's jobs could be impacted by that, and some people will enjoy it. So whatever, go like what you like, but it ain't for me.
I'm okay saying that I hope it gets scrapped. I have no problem with that.
Well, then you're heartless, Chris.
And that's a good segue into our next topic, which is one I didn't tell you about, which is Kingdom Hearts 3, because you said heartless, and they're like one of the main villains, like one of the main enemies in the game. They're called Heartless. So I mean, you didn't even know you segued to it, actually, now that I think about it.
That's how good I am. So you could edit out that voice crack, that'd be great.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
God.
So I didn't mention that I wanted to talk about this because I gave it so much flack last time, and then I caved and I bought it anyway.
I knew it was only a matter of time.
So I was talking to Philip, who sent me this really funny photo. He's like, Chris says, I'm over the whole Kingdom Heart thing. Chris also says, and then showed my achievements that I've been getting in the PlayStation 4 for it. And I was like, damn it, he caught me.
He's been on the lookout, dude. He's been creeping.
Yeah, he caught me on that one. So
does he listen?
Yeah, I think he does. He usually does when he's at work, if I'm not mistaken. So
oh, that's cool. Hey, Philip. Hey, Artorias. He'll get it.
Will he? Okay. Oh, yeah, because Dungeons and Dragons. I get it. Okay, I'm a doofus.
Cha.
Yeah. Okay. So Kingdom Hearts 3. I was just going to talk about what I think about it. Overall,
go right ahead.
It's decent.
Give it out of 10. Out of 10.
It's probably maybe an 8 for me right now. I'm about 12 hours into it. I think it takes about 40 or 50 hours to complete. I just got to the Frozen World this morning. Yeah, this morning. Visually, I mean, the art and the art direction is great. I'm kind of peeved about the resolution because it's not even 1080p on the PlayStation 4, so that kind of pisses me off, especially considering it's a more simplistic and not a realistic art style design. So I feel like, come on, you can definitely get 1080p on this. The problem is you can't even argue, well, they did that so that it can be 60 frames per second, and that's not accurate at all because there's performance dips and frame drops and all kinds of other stuff. Like I see performance stuttering through the world occasionally. So I don't know what the deal is with that. So I'm technically, I would rate the game a little bit lower because it just is not as impressive as I thought it was going to be. I mean, the opening movie blew me away. I loved it, including the opening music. But then the game, while it looks beautiful, I feel it could look so much better, especially if they just released it on computer and they give me the options to do what I want with the visuals. And then it would just be like, yes, exactly what I want.
So, all right. So you give it an 8 out of 10, right? That'd be like your overall score for it?
Yeah, I would say the 2 points taken down are just from a performance standpoint and from a low resolution. Like it's just not, while beautiful in the sense of art and the art direction, it just could be so much better.
Okay, so if it's an 8 out of 10 to you, then how do you rate the first and second one?
For me, I would say the first one is probably like an 8.5 out of 10. The second one is probably like a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay.
First one had the worst. It has a vehicle in it called the Gummy Ship that you have to fly around in space, and I absolutely hate that part of it. But I thought the first one was just really well done, and the second one I thought was much better than the second. The third one, I mean, it's good, but I think over 13 years, I'm just a little disappointed with some of the stuff that's going on with it.
All right, fair enough. Fair ratings, fair reasoning. Never played them. Can't give feedback.
The combat is engaging and fun, albeit sometimes in absolute insanity, because you can trigger Disney rides like a pirate ship ride, and then you turn into a giant pirate ship and you're like flailing around shooting water bubbles and shit. Yeah, and you can turn to a giant carousel and teacups and some of that stuff. I'm just like, what in the actual hell is going on here? It's just nonsense, but it's kind of cool at the same time. So there's some unique stuff in there. I'm disappointed that some of the worlds from 2 and 1 are not in it, like Beauty and the Beast and Nightmare Before Christmas and Aladdin and stuff like that. But no
Aladdin.
No Aladdin. No, I don't even know if they reference Aladdin in the game. I haven't seen it.
Wow,
to my knowledge.
That's a bummer. Love me.
Is that a bummer? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never play it, so it's not that big of a bummer, but
yeah, it's not that big of a bummer.
I'm gonna say low key bummer on it not being there, just simply for the fact that I love Aladdin.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I still to this day, all right, I'm taking it away from video games for a second. All right, I still to this day laugh extremely hard at the scene in Aladdin when he first meets Jasmine, and she's caught. Spoiler warning: she's caught. All right, wow. Taking back spoiler warning. She's caught stealing an apple, and the guy's like, "I'm gonna cut off your hand," and he jumps in, and he's all suave and smooth, and saving her hand and saying that she's crazy. And he's like, she thinks that the monkey is the emperor. And Abu standing there, just like, and like
Oh my
bends
goodness.
over. And, dude, I still, to this day, laugh. It's just so that is pure comedy gold right there. All right.
You're gonna go watch that after this. I can already tell. You're gonna go like
Oh,
look it up on
I'm not
YouTube.
even gonna try to hide it. It's 100% true. I will. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'll watch that. So yeah, just wanted to get that out there. I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 3. You know, it's good, not great, I would say. For me anyway.
So does good, not great, does that mean to you like it's good and I'm gonna keep playing it, but there's a solid chance that I might not finish it?
No, I'll finish it. I will definitely. I'm kind of invested in the other two, so I mean it's good enough that I'm gonna continue to play it and finish it, and maybe do some of the in-game stuff. If it kind of depends on what the in-game stuff is as to whether I really dedicate a lot of time to it, and plus it's a JRPG, which is one of my favorite genres of games, so I don't know, I'm kind of invested in those types of things.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean you finished Persona 5 and it's also a pretty long game, right?
So I finished about halfway through Persona 5. I never technically finished it. I put it down for a while because I was moving, if you recall, and then when I picked it back up, I had zero idea of where I was or what I was doing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So basically, that's on my list of games that I need to restart, which I was already 40 hours into it and I was only halfway through the story. So that's one hell of an investment right there.
Yeah, but I have heard amazing things about that game.
Yeah, I would give that like a 9.5. I mean, just the first half that I played. Awesome game. A lot of fun.
Dope.
All right, so do you want to take us into our final topic for today?
Final topic. So, toxicity in the gaming community. Whether that's when you're playing games, things that have to, like with what's going on with Metroid that you were telling me about, where, I don't know, man, how do you feel about it? Where do you, like, what's too much? Like with Metro, not Metroid, I said Metroid, Metro. Is it too much? Or is it just funny?
I don't know. I have mixed feelings a little bit with the whole Metro Epic Game Store. So for anyone that doesn't know, Metro Exodus was available on Steam and on Epic Game Store, but now it has a 1-year exclusive deal on Epic Game Store, so it's being removed from Steam. Problem is they announced that this past week, and it's like 14 days away from being released, so a lot of people are pretty upset. The issue is that now they're doing review bombing on Steam, so they're basically going back to the previous Metro games and they are just downvoting the crap out of them. Like, there's a lot of them out there. There are a lot of really unhappy people, and that tells me, I mean, to me, it's kind of like, well, that's part of the problem of a review system where people can do this kind of stuff, right? Because now you're downvoting 2 games that are good games just because you don't like what a developer has chosen to do with their own game. One of the things I wanted to talk about for it, one of the big reviews, one of the big not recommended reviews I saw, which is on Metro Last Light Redux, like the number one on there was reasons not to use the Epic Store. And he lists 18 different reasons, and I don't feel like some of these are actually accurate. I use the Epic Game Store. I've purchased a couple games through it, so I have used it. So it says they have terrible security. So they had 80 million accounts that were exposed within the last week. That was on January the 30th. That, to me, while obviously terrible, any company can be exposed
can happen to anyone.
Security threats. So I don't think you down a company just for that. I mean, that's just that should happen to everybody. So I'm not too worried about that. Terrible customer service. I can't speak to that. Games are more expensive due to regional pricing. I haven't seen that, and that doesn't seem to be true. And Metro is actually going to be $10 cheaper on the
Metro's
Epic Store than it's going to be on Steam. So I don't think that's accurate from what I've seen.
They're not giving legitimate reasons.
Yeah, and then you can't play games offline. That has not been my experience. Limited social features, that's true. There's no review system or anything like that, which I would prefer to see. I mean, granted, you've got Steam over here downvoting the crap out of games and, you know, misleading scores at this point, but there have been a lot of games that I read the reviews and they kind of sway my opinion as to whether or not I'm going to spend money on a game.
Yeah, but I mean, whether a client like that has a review system or not, there's always external review systems. Now, I mean, oh no, I have to go to another website. What? But it's not. I don't know. That's not that big
Yeah,
of
I
a
mean
deal to me.
there are, but I mean for a game like, so my example is My Time in Portia. It came out that day. There were already tons of reviews on Steam. I didn't know where else to really look to get reviews because like it just got like released that day, and there wasn't anything else out there because it's like an indie developed game. So reading the pros and cons of that game on Steam and people being honest about their feedback, like, oh, if you like Stardew Valley, you like this. I'm like, I love Stardew Valley. So that to me, that's how they ended up getting my money basically for that game.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, I definitely like the review system on Steam. I guess I'm more so in the boat of if it's not there, I don't know, I'm not gonna
But
be
the
mad
fact that
about
they
it.
don't have a review system is not something that keeps me from using Epic Game Stores. Like I'm not
Exactly.
going to not use Epic just because they don't have a review. If they're releasing good quality games and it's the only place I can get them, I'm a gamer. I'm gonna go and do it. Like I'm not gonna bitch and moan. I mean, I might, but not that much.
Yeah, you will.
Um, so the other thing, he says no screenshots, which if you look on their website or on the launcher, there are screenshots and videos of every game I've looked at and some of the games that I've bought, so that I don't think that's accurate. No controller support. I've used the controller on every single one of the games I own on there, so I don't think that's accurate either.
What?
Broke EU laws. I don't know anything about that. Scummy tactics where you have to tick a box to opt out of emails. I don't recall seeing that. Partially owned by some Chinese company that sells user data. I can't confirm that or not. No achievements. Sure, there's no achievements. I don't care. No cloud saves. Again, maybe. I don't know. Doesn't bother me though. No game forms. Fine with that. And then it says Epic makes you pay a transaction fee when purchasing games. I don't think I've ever seen that.
A lot of these just sound like the person was like, huh, what are things that would upset me about a launcher? Here we
Basically,
go. I'm
yeah. I
gonna
mean, this
list them
person
out.
just went on a rant about what they hate, and I mean, they put no reviews on there after they'd already mentioned limited social features, no Linux support. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, I don't know. They are anti-consumer. They pay for exclusive rights to games to try and force you to use their store. Couldn't we say the same thing about Microsoft and Sony between the
Yeah.
consoles? Like, are
I
you
mean,
fucking
that's
kidding
a
me right now?
valid, it's a totally valid business strategy. Like,
You got to be
that's
kidding me. Like, we're
ridiculous.
talking about downloading two launchers and paying the price between free launchers compared to, consoles that you have to go out and buy to get exclusive games between the, like, come on. If you want to throw an anti-consumer argument out there, you should be using Microsoft and Sony. You should not be using Steam and Epic.
Yeah, I agree. Those are all just stupid reasons, and it's just such, in my opinion, such a sense of entitlement, and it's
This is the
irritating.
problem that I have. I get that a lot of people are not happy with what's happened with the developer, and I think I'm not as bothered that they want to go the whole Epic Store route for a year. I am a little bit bothered that they decided to wait until 2 weeks before the release to do something about that. To say
Mm-hmm.
it, that's kind of bad. I don't really like that so much. But then again, I mean, the Epic Store has only been out for 3 months, 4 months maybe, so it's not exactly a lot of time.
So what about the people? What about the people who pre-ordered?
So the people that pre-order are still going to get the Steam key, from my understanding.
Do they have the option to refund?
Probably so. I'm not 100% sure. I believe there were some people that if they bought a physical copy, they're going to get. I think instead of a physical copy, they're going to get the game with like an Epic key or something in it instead. If I'm not mistaken, I don't recall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I don't agree with the way it's necessarily being handled. I don't think there was it should have been something that was handled at launch. It's like if you want to do the next Metro game like this, fine, do it then, but don't do it after this one's already been out for pre-order for such a long period of time. So
Yeah, I can understand that.
I don't agree with people just bombarding the review system like this and doing this to these older games and just
Yeah,
kind of brutalizing the system.
I love this game so much. I'm gonna wreck its reviews.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully there are several people on here saying, they're recommending it and saying these bad reviews are not because of these games. It's because of, what's going on with the Epic Store. So there are people trying to set it right, which I think is good because I'm thinking about people in the future that are going to potentially miss a good game because they're just going to look at, mostly negative recently and they're going to be like, "Ooh, I don't want that game. I don't know."
Oh, I've done that many a time.
Yeah, where I literally look at games like that, and if it says mixed, then guess what? I'm also mixed on it. My wallet is mixed. I don't know if I want to spend money on that.
I mean, I'll go and depending on the game, if it's one that I had a little extra interest in, then I'll go and look to see if it was like a recent update that people are upset about, because that's not always valid reasons, in my opinion, to give negative reviews. Like, oh, I played this thing and they nerfed it, negative review. Like that. That's just the
Right.
nature of games.
Well, even if it's a game that I'm really interested in, for example, Resident Evil 2, I did pre-order that game, but in the past, for many games like that, I would still go in and read the reviews because I do get concerned when they release games across multiple platforms that,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they broke the PC version because it's so much harder to make games for a computer than it is for set hardware devices like, consoles. So I do get worried that I'm going to go in and I'm going to see, well, the PC version crashes and it doesn't work and it's full of bugs and all this kind of stuff, and then I'm going to be frustrated that I spent $60 for something that doesn't work correctly.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure. I mean, whenever I purchased the Final Fantasy X so we could play it together, I was reading the reviews for that, and a lot of them were saying about uh, having poor issues for it and it not working properly at certain points and
Hmm.
screens going green and
Yeah.
issues with launching one game over the other since it came like it's a 10-10-2 package.
Yeah, so I see that as partially some of the benefit of having the review system, and I think that's why I would like to see Epic incorporate something like that into their store. But I get why these people are upset, but I think this is the wrong way to do it. I think
Yeah.
taking advantage of it, and I think that's part of the toxicity that we're talking about. Is these people are toxic, and they aren't doing us any favors by doing by treating games this way or by having this kind of reaction.
Yeah, they're just reeing away on a keyboard to make themselves feel better.
Internet
I mean,
warriors.
yeah, I mean, in the end, I guess, if that's what it takes to make you feel better, man, good for you, but it's unnecessary. It's too
I
much.
think of gaming toxicity very similar to how I think of people that drive. So I've always thought of it as, when someone cuts you off while you're driving, you're very quick to cuss at them and scream at them and yell at them and
Oh,
get
baby.
very frustrated in your car. Yeah, especially in New England. Like, you get very frustrated very easily. But when you do that to someone else, you rationalize why you do that. Well, I'm late for work. I'm having a bad day. I can't do this or can't do that or whatever the case may be. So we're very quick to pass negativity and judgment onto other people, but we don't do it to ourselves. And I think that's kind of messed up. And I think that's where a lot of the toxic stuff comes from. People, league specifically, if they don't like a play, they're very quick to say something very negative. But if they end up making that same play, they're not going to call themselves out. They're not going to say anything about it. They're
Oh,
going
they
to
go out
blame
of their
somebody
way.
else.
Yeah, to find someone else to blame. It doesn't matter what the situation was. And
Yeah.
like that's part of my issue with like toxicity in gaming now is like I'm all good for flaming the enemy team. They're the enemy. Flame them. We'll just trash talk them, do whatever, get in their heads, tilt them. But like, why do that to your team? If you're so mad that these things are happening that are going to keep you from winning, why are you making it worse by flaming your team, tilting them more than they already are? It makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, logically you're dragging the rest of the team down with you. And it's one of the reasons I don't, when I play competitive games, I mute other players, like in Call of Duty lobbies, or I mute people in League so I can't see the text. And it's not because most of it is because I don't want to take part in that stuff. Honestly, I don't really like to spend much time on negative energy in my life as it is, and I don't want to spend in something that I'm supposed to be trying to find enjoyment out of, like a video game. I don't want it to be taken over by negative energy because there's so many other people that can't seem to get their shit together or manage their emotions when they're doing something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, been I've been muted. I've had mute punishment against me in league, and I was completely deserving of it. I mean, the chat log that they sent me for like this was the last straw kind of thing. This is the one that got you banned. That one, I looked at him like, that's stupid. Ban me for when I said this the other day. Don't ban me for that. That's dumb. Like I told a guy to get his head out of his ass, and they're like, "Whoa, easy, killer."
That's enough.
Yeah, but uh, I don't know. I mean, ever since that's happened, I haven't nearly as much. I can't mute all. I can't do it. I like to see what people are saying, for if my jungler's coming is because, hey, like I'm doing blue buff and then I'm coming bot. Like I want to know that so I can prepare, so I don't mute, because I don't like the pings. Because like if he pings on my way and I don't realize at first, which is partially on me, but if I don't realize at first that he's just finishing up blue and he's not actually like this second on his way in, and I go in and then I'm the one that screwed up because he pinged on his way and I didn't interpret it properly, or because I didn't see that he said in chat gonna do blue first because I have it all muted, and I'm frustrated from that. I have to keep chat on.
Well, the problem is too is the league is a double-edged sword because just like you said, you need to see when there are cooperative teammates. The problem is there's so many toxic teammates that you're more likely to get people that are just trash talking and being complete assholes than you are to get people that are actually trying to help you win the game and do the right thing and make good plays.
Yeah, I mean,
League is only made better, I feel like, when you have a full team of 4 or 5 people that you can talk to who can communicate together instead of playing with randoms that will just butcher any and everything. I mean, that's my experience anyway.
oh yeah, Pegs, Fanny, and I, we play a lot of threes just because we don't have to worry about anyone else, just the three of us.
Yeah.
And we can just flame each other in voice chat together, and it's just in good spirit at that point. It's not legitimate flame. But yesterday I had a guy, we were in the ban phase, and you can choose to ban no one, and he did that. And I said in chat, I said, hey, no flame. This is going to sound like I'm flaming you. I'm not. Serious question. Why do you do a none ban right off the start instead of asking someone like, hey, any ban requests? Like I don't care who's banned. I'm not going to ban anybody. So if there's someone you want banned, let me know and I'll ban them. And he was talking about why, and his reasoning actually wasn't all that terrible. And we're having a totally fine, mature conversation about it. And another guy in the lobby just has to chime in. Will you guys shut the fuck up, please? And it's like, what? Why? Why do you have to be that guy before the game even starts?
It's not like you're talking out loud over voice chat. You're literally just texting. Like, it's just text,
Yeah. Like, don't look in the bottom left of your screen. Easy
so I'm
peasy,
curious,
bro.
what was the guy's reasoning for not banning anything?
So he had a couple reasons that I was like, that's not good reason, because he said his first reason was, well, there's no champs that I'm scared of. I want to go into all of them, and then if I lose, I learn from it, and then I don't need to ban them because I'm learning how to play that matchup. And I'm like, all right, like I get the second half of that, but the first half, I said, all right, there may not be any champs you're scared of, but I got quite a few that I don't like to play against. So it'd be nice if you offered that up.
It extends beyond you, and I think that is
Yeah.
one of the other core problems of League is that it is a team game, but everybody
Yes.
likes to play for themselves, and everybody does moves that they think are going to benefit them, or they stay too long. Oh my, this is why I don't play League anymore, honestly. That it frustrates me.
Start downloading it, buddy. Anyways.
No, that's why I don't play it, is because just like I mentioned, I want to play games to be relaxed and have fun, and it's infuriating. And when I step away, I don't mind competitive games, but I do mind when you're constantly playing with people, or you constantly are grouped up with people, or you find randoms that they make bad decisions consistently and they never learn from it, or it's always the same kind of problems. And it stifles your own individual gameplay because it's a team game, and you can't always carry a whole team on your back and do it. And it's just that kind of game. I mean, put me in a fighting game. If I'm going to play an online game, like a fighting game or something, that's fine. If I lose, that's on me. I don't have to wait for somebody else to fuck it up. I can do it on my own. I can suck terribly by myself. I don't need somebody else over there doing it for me. So,
Yeah,
but when I step away from League and I'm sitting there like wanting to pull my hair out because I'm having a good game technically and I'm playing the way that I need to be playing, but it makes zero difference because it's a team game. I'm like, why do I play this game?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I don't have an issue with people having bad games. Bad games happen.
Yes, bad games happen. I have a problem with people that have just asinine, terrible habits that they're not working to improve, and it's just always the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, if you're having a bad game, I get it, dude. Like, We've all had them. It's fine. But if you're having a bad game and people are saying like, hey man, just play under your tower, let him push into you, I'll come up and I'll gank for you. And then you're just hard pushing into them, exposing yourself, and then you're getting ganked and died over and over whenever people are trying to help you and give you outs and, help you understand what's happening and what you need to do different, and then you're just flaming them in chat. Like, now we have a problem. I had no issue with your bad game. Now you're just a dick. And you're bad.
I mean, what keeps you invested in that game? I mean, is it just the competitiveness of that game that keeps you playing it? Like, I don't...
Yeah, no other game gives me that same competitive feeling. I've tried other games that have ladder systems, yada yada, but none of them give me the same feeling for it, and that's why I keep going back.
So, but I mean, even minus the ladder system, would it still be a game that you went back to?
Like if they took ranked out of it?
Yeah.
If they took ranked out of it completely, I wouldn't play as much, and I would probably mostly only play like the fun game modes, such as the ARAM and Earth and Nexus Blitz, all those things.
Right. Something a little bit lighter.
Yeah, exactly, because the main reason I play it is for the competition.
Yeah.
I want the ladder. I want to climb.
I don't think there's anything I play really competitively anymore. I mean, I played PUBG for a while with you guys, and I didn't mind that one because that's a game where it is definitely a team game, but you can also carry on your own if you have a good game or you do the right things, and stuff like that. Like you can outwit people, and there's a little bit more leeway than there is in other games. I feel like League.
Yeah, and you can play solo in pub. So if you don't have a team of people that you're comfortable playing with, that you like to play with, you can just play by yourself.
Yeah, which I very rarely ever did, but at least it's an option.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know, I'm content with just RPGs for the most part. Just hanging out with those RPGs.
I need competition. I need it. Fueled by it.
You're fueled by competition.
Yep. If I don't have competition in a game, I lose interest in it very quickly.
What did you play before League to get that feeling?
That's the thing. I got competition in like other parts of my life to fill that hole for me.
Well, this is easy then. What you need to do is you need to join like a dodgeball league and then quit League of Legends. That's what you need to do. Yeah. No, that's what you need to do. Remember, or you need to get back into like competitive rock climbing or something and give this up. That's what you need to do.
That requires me to be physical again.
Well, it's better than the physicality of League, I would argue.
I ain't got time for that.
No, don't give me that excuse.
It's too late. It's out there.
Yeah, in your case, yeah, I guess it is. But, I mean, what do you think about Toxicity? Well, you asked me earlier, like, where do I draw the line? So... between flaming and being toxic. And for me personally, I don't start the line at all. I don't even approach the line. Everyone's mute as far as I'm concerned. I'm not even walking near it.
I like banter. Banter is fun for me. I enjoy it. But you don't do it to your team. If it's a competitive team game, joking banter, like, oh man, you fucked up there. That one sucks. Moving along, whatever. If it's not mean-spirited, it's okay. But that's all it is anymore, and we can just say that one right away. But when it comes to the enemy team, like, yeah, get into it. Flame them. Like I said earlier, get in their head, tilt them, have fun with it. Do it back to me. Like, you're the enemy, I'm the enemy. Like, rip each other's heads off, whatever. Now, I do feel there are lines, like telling people to kill themselves.
That would definitely be a line not to cross.
Yeah, which is all the time in League. On your team, not on your team, people telling you all the time to kill yourself.
People don't say that.
Dude, I know that you're very surprised by this right now, okay? I'm sorry that I had to bust that news to you. I didn't want to be the one that had to ruin your worldview and how pure that it is, but it's not, man.
How pure that League is of all games. League is easily the most toxic game I've ever played. I can't think of any other game that's even close to as toxic as League. And I don't know what it is about that game that makes people so nasty.
It's the competitive. It's
Yeah,
that it's that
but
league.
you look at stuff like Call of Duty and things like I've never seen anything like what League has as far as just raw
I
toxic
mean, I've seen
players.
it in Call of Duty, but it was never at your team. It was very rarely at your team.
I would see it, I would see it. I didn't really pay much attention who it was going towards, but you would just hear it here and there. But it's just nothing like what I've seen League over the years. I don't understand what I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I like with.
I mean, when you start that kind of stuff and you decide to start being toxic, like for me, and this sounds, kind of, I don't know, it might sound a little strange to some people, but I think of it as you're like allowing negative energy into your life, and it just kind of overflows into other things in your life, and then all of a sudden you're not just toxic about League, but you find yourself complaining and bitching about other things in your life, and then, I think I think that what you think about and what you spend your time thinking about is what you bring into your life. And so I think if you let that negative energy from League go into other things, then your life is negative and you're negative and it's terrible. And so I think it's not worth even being started in.
Oh, I've definitely had times where I get so mad at League and I quit and I go, I'm starting to cook dinner and I'm getting pissed because I can't open this can. And it's like such a simple thing, but I'm in this state of mind because of
Yeah.
this video game, you know?
You're in an emotional state of mind. Like it's taking you to another place, and it's dangerous stuff. And it's not to say that, it's going to change everyone's life if you do that. But I mean, there are probably some people that carry that negativity with them all day, every day, and it changes their worldview and it changes how their life plays out. And that's terrible.
I just think people need to be a little more conscious about other people. You're gonna have
What?
people that say, like, oh, it's just people saying stuff on the internet, like it doesn't matter, it's whatever. But you don't know where other people are in their life, what they have going on. Like back to the telling people to kill themselves thing. What if this person on the other end is legitimately suicidal and they have been battling with being on the edge of it? And you know
Yeah.
what? They're having this bad game. It's going terrible. Everyone in the game is just ganging up on them, calling them pieces of shit. You know, you suck. Go kill yourself. And it's just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm doing it.
Well, you've heard stories. We've all heard stories about people that they get bullied online, and people will show up to another person's house and like attack them or even kill them in some instances because they bullied them online and stuff like that. And to me, anyone that says, "Well, it's just words online," it's not that big a deal. Those types of people that say that, and if you're listening and you're that type of person, you cannot tell me that there's not been a time that someone hasn't said something that hurt you and made you upset enough that you took it outside the game. I call bullshit on that if you tell me that didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, I would recommend everybody take your time, go online, look up the definition of sonder, which is, a made up word really. But I mean, the definition is the realization that each passerby lives a life as vivid and complex as your own. I mean, think about that. That's an important thing. I work in the hotel industry, and when you check in guests at a hotel, sometimes guests are really, really nasty to you when they check in, and it's not anything that you've ever done. Sometimes their day is just terrible, and just having a little bit of empathy and being able to relate to that and share with them and connect with them as a person changes the way they interact and the way that they, the rest of their day goes. I think people are oblivious to that. I really do. I think people are completely oblivious to the fact that everybody around them has their own things going on, their own life. It is way beyond us as individuals. And we get so basically we have our heads up our asses, like you mentioned.
And you're muted now. So I don't know. Yeah, those people need to go back to being toddlers, I guess, whenever they learn about object permanence. That things don't just disappear whenever they're not in your sight. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not a real person who has feelings.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's a shame, honestly. So I don't spend any time on it or energy. I tend to stay away from those games these days because it's just easier to. It's very much like alcohol. It's much easier to not drink it when you don't have it around.
Yeah, love me some booze though.
I mean, I like alcohol. I just I don't
Oh,
drink it very often.
Flashback to Neshoba Winery.
I don't. What happened?
Exactly.
Which time?
That is my point. The first time, man, I had a bottle of mead. We went back to your place and we were just hammered. Honestly, I think that's no. I was gonna say that's the last time I was drunk, but the last time I was drunk, I think, was LCS finals.
Yeah. See, that's what I thought you were going to reference, was where I was drinking so heavily the night before we went to Boston, and then we're about to get on the elevator. Yeah, we missed the train, but we're about to get on the elevator. I'm like, and I turn around, and you're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, I need to throw up real quick. Like, I have to throw up. It's gonna be fine. Fumbling for my keys, trying to get into the apartment before I throw up all over the door. And then everyone comes in like, "Are you okay?" And I'm just eating carrots in the kitchen. I'm like, "I'm good."
It was just so casual. Like you couldn't fit the key into the lock. You were just missing the hole. I'm like, "You good, man? You're gonna be all right?" And you're just like, "Yeah, I need to puke." And you just can't hit the key in the lock. You finally get it through and just bust through the door.
Yeah, it was a rough one. It was a rough one. Oh my gosh.
I think the lesson here is everyone just needs to live by ELE. Everybody love everybody.
Not a bad idea. I could get behind that. Not to be confused with like ELO, like the ELO in League, though. I don't want anybody to think that they need to leave by that. As well. No, don't. No.
ELO is life. I can feel the toxicity slowly coursing through my veins now as I start to talk about ELO.
Yeah. You're like Vayne over there. That's
exactly.
right.
I'm just
Batman
having
reference.
flashbacks.
Look at me coming in hot with the references.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow. You hate Batman. Wow.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, for anybody out there, I cannot stand it.
I remember when I told you about Flashpoint and how it's Bruce Wayne that gets shot that night, and you're like, "Good, great."
That was my favorite. That was the favorite. My favorite story to this day that you've ever told me. To this day,
about child Bruce Wayne getting shot and killed in an alley.
Yeah. I remember, I think Liz was asking me about, we were talking about superheroes, and I was mentioning how much I hate Batman and stuff, and I was like, but I do like The Flash because, there's a point where he goes back and Batman dies because of him, and I love that about him.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I can accept that because
that's
the
how
Flash
you converted
is my
me
favorite.
Like The Flash. That's how you did it, and it worked flawlessly because I think we were at the comic book store or something. The moment you told me, I was like, I'm on board. I don't need to hear anything else. I'm on board.
Show me more comics where Batman gets screwed over.
Yeah, like all the comics. Show me all the comics.
Oh man!
Oh my gosh! All right, we've definitely gotten out of hand here. So let's wrap this up.
I think that's the end. Yeah.
All right, Pat. We'll do the thing. Take us out of this one.
All right, everybody. Thanks for sitting through another episode of us rambling about random shit together. We appreciate it. We love you. Most of you, maybe some of you. Hopefully we don't know, because that'd be cool to get people we don't know listening to our podcast. That would make me feel important. So I hope you're new. I hope we don't know you, and I hope we can get to know you someday. I hope you enjoyed our talks. I hope you're not as toxic anymore, and I hope I'm about to end this, because this is rambling again. So he's Chris. I'm Pat. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody, have a great week.